everybody and welcome back to Love English. I'm Sabra and today we're looking at over 100 ways to describe appearances in English, physical appearances. Now today we are going to be expanding on those typical phrases like he's tall, she's slim, he has brown eyes, she has blue eyes. We're going to expand on those phrases quite a lot and give you some more advanced expressions, things you wouldn't commonly hear. And what I would like you to do, everyone, is to describe your appearance to us in the comments below. This means we might get a little bit more of a picture of what you all look like, which is very interesting for us. Don't forget, if you haven't already, click the subscribe button or you can follow us on Instagram or TikTok. Head to our website for more information or have a look at our courses. Okay, so we're going to talk first about the face, how we can describe the shape of somebody's face. So of course we can say somebody has a round face, the round shape to the face. Somebody has a thin face, so a thin shape to the face. Or we can say that somebody has a chiseled face. Now a lot of actors and models tend to have chiseled faces. Chiseled means sculpted, really. It looks like somebody's been chiseling away with a little hammer and a sculpting device to make them have those kind of lovely contours to the face. For example, the cheekbones, a defined jaw. The cheekbones will usually be high. Their face might be quite angular. We can also say that a person has chubby cheeks, so flesh here on the cheeks, which can be quite cute as well. We can also describe a face as a heart-shaped face. So if the face kind of comes in a little bit like a heart, so pointy up on the chin here, but broader on the forehead, then we would say a heart-shaped face. We also do talk about the jaw when it comes to describing the face. And with men, we tend to talk about if a man has a defined jaw, we will say, oh, he's got a strong jaw. And this might be something that we associate with masculinity. Now, as well as that, we can say that men or women have a more square jaw shape. Or we could say that somebody has a pointy chin, so when the chin comes into quite a point. Of course, very pointy chins can be seen in cartoons on witches and things like that. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the nose. Sometimes the shape of the nose can be somebody's bugbear a little bit, something that we may not like the shape of our nose. I know in my case I certainly don't, but let's look at the ways in which we can talk about noses. First of all, we have a button nose, a button nose. So on this person's face, you can see they have a button nose. It's sort of a cute nose. It's quite a small nose with perhaps a slight upturn in the top of the nose here. And this is considered a very desirable nose in the West to have a button nose. Next, we have an aquiline nose or a Roman nose. Now this nose is usually a bigger nose and it can even have a slight bump on it, which would make it have a little bit of shape to the nose as well. In some cultures this is a very attractive nose, in others not so much. Of course then we can say somebody's nose is pointy, or if somebody has a flatter shape to their nose, we might say they have a flatter nose or a broader nose. Next one, moving on to eyes. These are a lovely thing to talk about. They say the eyes are the windows to the soul. So we have lots of nice things that we can say about eyes. A lot of the time we describe a person's eyes as bright. If a person has had a good sleep or if they look very interested in something, we would say they have bright eyes. Now when it comes to eye colour, of course, we can talk about blue, brown, black, grey, all the typical colours. However, we can also have green eyes. Or if we have a combination of green and brown, it's a more unusual eye colour. This eye colour is called hazel, to have hazel eyes. If somebody has a dreamy look in their eyes, very often if their eyes seem to have depth, we can say they have soulful eyes. Also, we can say that a person has sparkling eyes. So lots of light reflected in the eyes, often the eyes that are sparkling will be quite big, or the person looks very interested. And it's quite a compliment to say, oh, your eyes are sparkling. It means you look happy or you look radiant. Okay, now we're going to move on to talking about describing somebody's smile. So first of all, we can say that somebody has a broad smile, a big smile. If somebody has a very big smile, this can be called a grin. And this can be associated with mischief. If somebody's up to mischief, they might grin. Also, they might have a cheeky grin, meaning they're being a bit cheeky, so they're doing a big, big smile. Children can sometimes do a grin like this. It's quite a humorous thing to grin at somebody. So big smile can be called a grin. Next one is a winning smile. A winning smile. If you say a person has a winning smile, it means this is the smile that could open doors for that person. It's the smile that could get them the job. So a winning smile is not only an attractive smile, but it's also a smile that conveys warmth and confidence. The next one we can say is a charming smile. Again, an attractive smile, which has a cute or adorable element to it, or something that makes people warm to that person. That would be a charming smile. A big smile with lots of white teeth, so very, very attractive smile, could be a dazzling smile. So if a person has a smile that makes you think, wow, what a smile, that could be a dazzling smile. Now, there are also different ways that we can talk about lips. So somebody can have very full lips. This usually means large lips. So for example, lovely Leila has full lips. She has pouty lips, so lips that kind of go forward, which is very fashionable now to have big pouty lips. Also, somebody can have thin lips, so they don't have such full lips. They can have thin lips. Okay, the next one we're going to talk about is hair. And do pronounce that word correctly. That can be a tricky sound. It's hair. So first of all, the word for no hair at all is bald. Again, this is a mispronounced word. Bald. So somebody has no hair. Now, the person who has decided to remove their hair by shaving it, we would say they have a shaved head. Now, some people who are losing their hair a bit may shave their head, in fact. A person who always has a shaved head, and this is and shaved very, very close, so a very close shave, they can be called a skinhead. And this is often part of a sort of fashionable look to be a skinhead. Now, hair on a man or a woman, but more commonly on a man, which is short and has little points to it, this is called spiky hair. And at times this is quite fashionable. Then you can also have floppy hair on a man or a woman. Again, if a woman has a short style, but it tends to be more on a man. So floppy hair, I would say Hugh Grant very often has floppy hair. It's the kind of hair which falls across the forehead usually. And on some men, this can be quite charming, this look. So floppy hair. The next one is tousled hair. And basically this means messy or untidy hair, but actually it's sometimes considered attractive. So if a man can just put his hand through his hair and his hair looks nice, we would say he's got tousled hair. Or sometimes women actively want to mess their hair up a little bit so it looks a bit more wind-swept. So like the wind has swept through their hair. And this can also have seem to be quite attractive at times. So tousled hair. Then of course you can have straight hair like mine, or frizzy hair. Frizzy hair is a problem for lots of women, and we tend to not want frizzy hair because it's hair that tends to have a mind of its own and goes in different directions. It's not exactly curly, not wavy, but where there seems to be quite a lot of hair doing something on its own. We can also say somebody has wavy hair, so in between straight and curly. Then of course we have curly hair, or afro hair, or braided hair. Lots of people in the black community often braid their hair. If somebody has thick, healthy looking hair, shiny hair, you can also say that they have luscious hair. So we have long hair, thick hair. Thick hair is of course where there is a lot of hair, or we have thin hair. And we can also describe thin hair as fine hair, very light, not too many hairs, a bit more delicate. But often fine hair can be very shiny. People who have fine hair can sometimes have very shiny hair. Hair can also be referred to as locks. You might say that somebody has long, luscious locks, or curly locks, for example. Very, very tight curls can be called ringlets. Ringlets. Also, we can talk about a bob or bobbed hair. And this is a short style on a lady, usually to here or here. So we could say she has bobbed hair, or just she has a bob. Also, if somebody's hair comes to here, just to their shoulders, we call this shoulder length hair. Right, moving on to hair colours. This is very useful if ladies are living in the UK or the States or an English-speaking country and they want to dye their hair and search for the right shade. So first of all, we have chestnut hair. And chestnut hair is a brown colour, but with some red going through it. The next step up from this would be auburn hair, and auburn is a bit more red in it basically, so it's still got a brown tint, but it's getting it's like a dark red really, very attractive hair colour. The next one is strawberry blonde, and this is where hair has some red in it, so it's quite red, but also it's mixed with blonde, so that's why it's called a strawberry blonde. It's sort of a lighter shade of red. So it's not ginger. Ginger is basically when the hair is all red, like Ed Sheeran or Cynthia Nixon. They are real redheads. Then of course we have blonde, or we have dark brown, or mousy brown. Mousy brown, now this is a colour which lots of women in the UK say their hair is. And it's basically, it's not a dark brown, it's not quite a very light brown either, it's something in the middle, almost the colour of the hair on a mouse. So if we say, oh, she's got mousy brown hair, that's why she dyed it, it's something that we don't consider that attractive because it's something and nothing. Very black hair can be called jet black hair. So if the hair is completely black, like a lot of the Asian community have completely black hair, then we say it's jet black hair. Now for people as they're getting older, they tend to of course get a bit grey, so we also have grey hair, but a more attractive way to say that, especially for a man, is to say the hair is going silver, silver. So if a man is mostly grey but looks attractive like this, we can call him a silver fox, a silver fox. Right, moving on from the face and the hair, now we're looking at body type, body shape and height. So first of all, a person can be slim, slender or svelte. These all mean about the same. It just means the person is a slim build, doesn't have any extra weight, they're not thin or skinny, they're just in the middle. You can also say that somebody has a slim build or a slender build. So you can also talk about their build as well, or a petite build, meaning quite small, proportioned all over. The other word we can use is slight. This again means slim, but also generally quite petite. You would say she has a slight build, or she is slight. Here we can also use the word figure. You can say somebody has a slim figure. So he has quite a slim figure, or she has a slim figure. More used for women, this word figure, but build is used for men and women. The next one we have is skinny, which means that you really don't have any fat on you at all. And we can also say bony as well, if somebody's bones protrude a little bit. These two are not as much of a compliment, especially not bony. It's not polite to say somebody's skinny necessarily. Men can also be skinny, that can be used for men too. Skinny and thin and bony, these are all neutral words. The next one we have is curvaceous, and this is a term used for women, curvaceous or curvy. And this means the woman has a figure like an hourglass, so she has curves. And this is again a complimentary thing to say to somebody. Curvaceous or curvy. And shapely is the next one. There's also shapely. Shapely is perhaps more saying that they have shape to their figure, but it can suggest perhaps a little extra weight as well. So just to be aware of that. We can also talk about a physique. So we can say she has a very thin physique, or she has a very sporty physique, somebody who looks like they do a lot of sport and their body sort of naturally responds well to sport. You can say she's got a sporty physique. Athletic physique is very similar. Somebody, again, who does a lot of sport may have an athletic physique. And now for people who are carrying a little bit of extra weight, you can say plump or chubby or podgy. These all mean more or less the same. Plump, chubby, podgy, and they all can cause offence if used in the wrong way and in the wrong context, and we have to bear in mind culture and everything like that. So just to be aware, just like skinny, they can cause offence if used in the wrong way. The next one is flabby, and flabby doesn't mean that the person is chubby. Flabby means that there is loose skin which isn't toned. The muscles and the skin is not firm, so they need to perhaps do a little bit more exercise. So you can have a slim person who has flabby thighs, for example, or a flabby tummy. Then we also have overweight or fat, But a nicer way to say this to a person is they're carrying a bit extra to squeeze. We might say, well, they're carrying a bit extra to squeeze. This is a much more polite way to say this. We also have some fun phrases here, such as if there is a lot of weight around the hip area and the midriff area, we can call this love handles. So the handles of love, where you can grab the person almost as if that piece of fat is a bit like a handle, which can be very desirable in some cultures. That can also be called muffin top. And the reason it is called muffin top is because when a pair of jeans are worn or a pair of trousers, if the fatter skin comes over the top, it's a bit like the top of a muffin. So you might say, oh, I'm carrying a bit of muffin top. I definitely need to do a bit more dieting. The next one we have is muscular. Muscular. So lots of muscles, can be used for men or women. The next one is beefy, and this is a person who has lots of muscles, is very solid, big build, kind of like The Rock, if you know the actor The Rock. Lots of people who are very into weightlifting will have quite a beefy frame. Then we have buff, which again means muscly. This is perhaps a younger word. And if people say, oh, he's buff, it means he's got muscles, you know, he's got a toned body. The next one is ripped. And ripped we use a lot to describe, again, the male physique, when muscles are clearly visible, often on the torso. The next one is big boned, so a bigger body structure. This can be for men or women. If you say they're big boned, it means they have broader shoulders, they have wider hips, their body structure or their frame is bigger. The next one is stout. And you would probably use this with build, a stout build, or you could just say he is stout. And basically this person is shorter, solid looking, maybe a bit fat, but they aren't very fat, they're just kind of shorter and quite substantial looking. The next one is lanky. Now a lanky person is tall with long limbs. So they're usually quite tall, over 6 foot and with long limbs. So you could say he's got a lanky build. So now looking at height. Of course we have short, tall, petite. So petite is a nice way to say somebody is short. It's a bit politer, the French way. And finally we have average height. This of course depends on what the average is in your country. For women in the UK it's about 5'6", 5'7". So in fact I'm average height. So you could say she's about average height. Finally, we can also say somebody has a towering figure. If they are very tall, you can say they are towering. Towering. Right, before you go guys, don't forget to now describe how you look in the comments below using all this wonderful vocabulary. But before you go, who do you think I'm describing here? She has dark brown hair. She's quite tall. She has dark eyes that are sparkly, eyebrows that are shaped in a high arch. She has a charming smile and full pouty lips. Who do you think this could be? Tell me in the comments below. Right everyone, we'll see you very soon. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.